I stood up for my sister. She wanted to get married to someone and our family opposed it, and I fought for her. So can you imagine how I felt when I announced the person I want to marry and all of a sudden, Little Miss Perfect has a problem with it? I need to get some unbiased opinions and a friend suggested I post here. Hopefully someone can help. So a little backstory before the trauma of last night. I'm 25 and have a sister, and for the purpose of the story I'll be referring to her as Ella. We were always very close growing up, and we still are now. When I was bullied in middle school, her shoulder was the one I cried on. She was my best friend for a really long time because I always felt like I didn't have any. We have the kind of relationship that we can normally tell each other anything and keep it between us, even if we know our family would not approve. We're only 1 year apart and have shared everything and anything we did in life, good, bad, or even blah. However, her downside is that she's extremely money-minded and every move she makes revolves around money. She works as a research assistant at a multinational company while I'm a UI/UX designer. One day, a close family member requested her to lend a small amount of cash during a challenging time, and instead of offering empathy, she questioned the necessity of the request and discussed the repayment terms. She even asked me to pay her for my 1-week stay at her home. One more piece of information that's relevant is that our families are racist. They have a lot of generalized opinions regarding certain races. I don't know, they just think it's okay as long as they admit it. I've told them it's not okay and how disgusting it is and that it makes them crappy people. I've called them out consistently over the years when they say racist things, but they continue to be like that. So, on to the story. Ella found a boyfriend, let's call him Ahmed, who is also her boss, and overall he's a really good guy. He's from Jordan, and his parents died when he was 7, and he spent weeks living on the street, alone. Words can't imagine the things he's experienced at such a young age. He has remarkable strength, and he was eventually taken into an orphanage, managed to work very hard at school, and stood out amongst his peers, to the point of even being offered a scholarship at an American university. He works as a cultural consultant, so he makes a good amount of money and occasionally spoils me and Ella with gifts, fancy meals, etc. He even offered to help me pay my student loan. Before they dated, Ella would occasionally flirt with him. She became very chummy, texting him when they were off work and calling and having casual conversations at work, and finding reasons to linger and talk. They started hanging out together more often than usual, taking day trips, having sleepovers, going for dinner, etc. At first, he wasn't interested in having her as a girlfriend, but she managed to subtly weave her way into his romantic life. She would share with him her personal stories, trying to create emotional intimacy, and whenever he was around, she would wear fewer clothes and see-through clothes and sometimes even go topless. They don't live together yet due to religious reasons, and during his birthday party, all his colleagues were saying, "Dude, she has the hots for ya." And then she looked into his eyes and said, "There's something special between us, as if we're meant to be life partners, don't you think?" To which he smiled. A few days later, he told me about potentially proposing to her and asked for my blessing, which was super cool of him to do. When I asked Ella how she would feel if he happened to propose, she did not seem excited at all. If anything, she was like, "Oh, that would be cool." I asked her if she was not excited about marrying him, and she said that he's a good husband material, but she doesn't love him because he's Arab. Which didn't make sense to me. He's a very attractive dude. He's 5'10", works out 5 days a week, and has these hazel eyes. He genuinely cares about her feelings and even has a routine for her period weeks. I'll be completely honest with you guys. Initially, I was reserved and maybe even apprehensive about him. But after I got to know him, I felt he was a great guy and he's an absolute keeper. So I asked Ella why she wanted to marry him if she wasn't interested in being with, and she said that she wanted to be with him because he was rich and gave her expensive stuff. She also said that she looks forward to accompanying him on international business trips, going on vacations and living her best life when they get married. See, I'd been hanging out with Ahmed more, but I didn't tell him about what me and Ella talked about. I didn't want to see this guy get used and abused, but this is my one and only sister. I loved her so much and I did not want to upset her, but I also really cared about Ahmed and how she may screw him over. Since I know him so well, I could text him and tell him, but I was also not sure if that's something that he needed to know. Ahmed met our family in February, and Ella said that she wants to get married to him in a few months. Well, my family immediately disapproved because they barely saw the guy. She was firm and strict on her decision to be with him forever, and they asked her to at least postpone the marriage, but she was not listening to anyone, and just simply kept on trying to convince them. All of a sudden, she starts acting nice to me, and 2 weeks of sweet gestures and being over-the-top loving, she would surprise me with gifts and food and show random acts of kindness. She would rush into big compliments and big statements intentionally rather than organically, and then she approached me to ask for my help in convincing our family to approve her marriage. I felt disheartened that she was dating Ahmed just for material perks. So I initially said no for obvious reasons, but I eventually agreed to it because I had never seen Ella this happy in life. She had a lot of issues with depression and mental health in her general teen years. As a brother, it's an absolute joy to see her like this. So I spoke to our grandpa, who helped convince the entire family to accept Ahmed as their son-in-law. It was signed, and I was happy to see Ella with a big smile on her face. A year later, I met my then-girlfriend Mira. She's a wonderful, funny, charming, strong, intelligent woman. I actually saw her for the first time at the video game store. I stopped in just to look at a discount game, and she was at the bookstore next door. She was seriously the most beautiful girl I've laid my eyes on. She was 100% unlike any one of me or my friends. I'm covered in tattoos and wear trashy holes in my pants and oversized black shirts. She was in slacks, a button-down pink shirt with a gold necklace that, well, had her monogrammed initials on it, which is relevant because she was the last person in the world that anyone expected me to totally fall for. We've been dating for 11 months, and we were really serious about each other. I met her parents and family, and they all absolutely love me. And I went on family trips with her cousin as well, and we have an amazing relationship. She was very wise and mature and genuinely loves me. Hell, she just spent months trying to hunt down the best breeders for a dog I've always wanted. She even made trips to see the dog's parents, etc. It's very sweet of her. It took me a lot of time to finally muster up the courage to tell my family about our upcoming engagement. I told them that I was in a serious relationship, and my dad immediately asked me about her nationality. I told him, and well, he was fuming. He was scared that Mira would use me to gain citizenship, monetary purposes, and whatnot. I expected Ella to speak up for me, but she didn't. I explained to them that I already know what they think and where they stand with the situation, but I also want to explain to them my point of view. I did this not to change their opinion, but for them to at least understand how I feel. My dad said that I was talking back to him and asked me, "Why do you want to be seen with an Indian?" I told him he's being racist and that thinking this way is obviously just wrong. I was surprised when Ella also mocked my choice in front of the entire family, and she asked me, "What else do you think of the rest of the family would say when you want to bring home an Indian?" According to her, my decision would bring no fortune to the family, and she went on to suggest that marrying an Indian would somehow stain the bloodline. Angry and hurt, I confronted her, saying I can't believe that she's not sticking up for me after all the effort I made to ensure our family approved of her marriage. She did not back down. Instead, she laughed and claimed that she had more intelligence than me because while I was marrying for love, she had married for money and had to secure her future. Since then, my dad had not spoken a word to me, whereas my mom kept telling me about how stressed they are with the virus taking away their jobs, and that me dating an Indian woman is adding to their stress. I told her that Mira's brilliant and has a high-powered career, often making me, well, more than due to her domain. However, she remained unconvinced. So I visit Ella's house to have a talk with her, and she said that she doesn't like being associated with Indians because she hates India. The caste system, the social stigma surrounding women, the Indian culture of pushing people into narrow education fields, the general corruption of the people. I mean, she loves me, but is scared of how people will view her when her brother is married to an Indian woman. Yeah, it's racist, but the reason she laid out explains that her prejudice is more against the culture rather than the people. She thinks Priyanka Chopra is one of the most gorgeous women alive. While she was preparing dinner for us, I noticed a brochure on her table. I took a look and it was about sperm donor programs. I could not shake off the feeling that she was hiding something from me, so I checked her Gmail inbox because I know her passwords. I typed the clinic's name in the search box and discovered that she's been booking appointments with him. I was absolutely shocked because up until that point I thought we shared everything with each other. I forwarded the most recent email to my Gmail address so that I could read it later. When I asked her about this, she admitted that she was looking for a sperm donor because she did not want an Arabian child. I was concerned, and she starts going off about how picking a sperm donor is actually really great because it's one of those places a person can pick out the exact genetics they want. She then starts listing all the great things that would happen if she had a white kid. They would fit better into American society, etc. I asked her whether she had discussed with Ahmed about this, and she had not. This made me feel sick to my stomach, and told her that she was super racist and was only with Ahmed to leech off his money. She got offended and presented the whole "I'm not racist, I have friends" argument. She thinks that mixed unions create many complications and pulled up a story about a mixed child who had identity issues. I asked her to just tell Ahmed because it's pretty damn messed up, but she refused to. Kept saying that it's pointless and why cause issues when everything's going perfect right now. So I told her that if she did not tell him the truth, I would. I could no longer just stand her lies, and that is one, like, gigantic, massive lie. It's a super unfair lie to Ahmed. She was mad and said that her relationship is absolutely none of my business, and she wanted me to drop this and not bring this to him until the insemination. I left her house. I even called Ahmed and told him that she was in it for free vacations and the lifestyle he provides, and that she absolutely hated the idea of having an interracial baby, so she wanted to use a sperm from a donor. That evening, she dropped by our family and asked them to be very strict with me, lying to them that I was planning to elope with Mira. Our grandma, who, by the way, is extremely racist, made it abundantly clear that if I proceeded to marry Mira, I would face severe consequences. I hated that my own family threatened me over whom I choose to love, so I decided to elope with Mira. I took her with me to pick the dress, and her attire was so easy. We got awesome candid photos, and we got married, just the two of us. It was more romantic than anything I could have ever imagined. She surprised me by filling the house with flowers and clay lamps and had a friend light them all before we got home. Our marriage was simple, thoughtful, and private. Eventually, we did host an Indian wedding reception for close friends and family last night to toast, celebrate together, eat good food, dance, vibrant songs, and even have a fun time. The reception had 40 people. It's the limit the venue allowed. Some people were, of course, snubbed from the guest list, and we really only wanted our closest families and friends there. Naturally, I invited my parents to this, and my mom initially refused to attend, but later showed up. She was icy the whole time, and she told me that I had robbed her of a memory and broken her heart. After dance and dinner, Ella showed up uninvited and started screaming at me. She called me a troublemaker for uttering nonsensical things to Ahmed, and she accused me of intentionally ruining her marriage life. Apparently, he confronted her about wanting a sperm donor, and the whole thing spiraled into a giant fight. She said that I hurt Ahmed more than I hurt her, and Mom sided with her and said that she would never do something like that. At that point, I've had enough. I went absolutely ballistic on Ella in front of everyone. I pretty much said every cuss word in the book. I then pulled my phone out, asked my mom to call the clinic, and put the phone on speaker so everyone could hear the conversation. I asked her to read out the appointment ID and give them Ella's full name, date of birth, phone number, and I told her to ask them if the appointment could be canceled. When she asked that, she replied, "I'm sorry, but appointments with this ID cannot be cancelled as the sperm donation process has already begun." Mom was so dang shocked to hear this. Ella looked like she was crying the whole time. Mom asked her why she didn't just tell Ahmed. She said that she could not because she loved him and she could not hurt him. She's afraid he would leave her and he would be lonely without her because he always said he had no chance and no one else in this world. I was so angry, so I grabbed Ella by the arm and dragged her into the hallway. Now, I'll admit, I swear a lot while screaming. I rounded it off by telling her to duck off. Harsh words, but I was mad. Now everybody in the family knew. This whole thing could not be kept a secret from Ahmed. He knows now too, and he's so mad that he's staying at his friend's. He thanked me for revealing the truth, and apparently, when he confronted her, she told him that it was not about the money, and that our strong friendship bloomed into a beautiful relationship that I could not deny my feelings for. But Ahmed did not believe her. She gets mad and he didn't believe her, and, well, needless to say, the marriage broke, and they now have separated. He's filing for a divorce soon, and he's also going to report her racist actions to the HR at their company. And you know what? They take racism very seriously. 2. Get her fired. And in the eyes of my parents, I'm the a-hole who separated my sister from the love of her life. They always take her side. I receive mixed reactions from other family members. My close cousin, Bray, is devastated and said that Ella ruined her idea of love and that being in a relationship was absolutely pointless now. One of my uncles took it incredibly personally and said that Ella's a gold digger and that he feels awful for Ahmed. A few of my relatives said that that's something Ella should have been careful about because it's disrespectful to Ahmed and their marriage. Bay's mom is really mad at me, though, and, well, for exposing my sister in front of everyone. Though all this, Mira helps me and cheers me up. She's a constant source of support and comfort for me. Update number 1. Guys, thank you so much for the silver and the gold. I read every single comment and I appreciate you all. On the day that I created the post, I got on the local train and was on my way to my parents' house as we planned to sit down and talk as a family. When I reached there, Ella and my mom refused to even look at me. I've been staying here for 3 days and they have not spoken to me since the whole incident. My grandpa's the only one who doesn't blame me for everything. I feel guilty for ruining Ella's relationship and getting her fired. I feel really bad because Ahmed actually made her happy. This morning, around 1 a.m., my dad woke me up and he was crying. All I remember hearing was my mom sobbing from across the hallway, and everything from that point was just traumatic. When I entered Ella's old bedroom, she was just lying on the floor. My mom was crying while on the phone with emergency services, and she was yelling incoherent sentences. Ella attempted unalivement. I don't want to describe the scene, but I can't get it out of my head. All I feel is guilt. To make matters worse, while we're at the hospital, I accidentally made my mom mad. I told my dad that I was thirsty and he was going to help me find some water, but my mom just gets really mad. She exploded on both of us, but mainly me. She basically blamed me for everything, and she said that if Ella doesn't make it, then her blood is on my hands. And she also said that she wished it was me instead. My dad cut her off and yelled at her for saying those things, but she just argued back, defending herself. My grandpa came to the hospital and picked me up. I insisted on staying, but my dad refused. As for Ahmed, I talked to him. We're going to hang out this weekend, and my plans were made in advance. I'll talk in more detail with him. At worst, there will be some closure. At most, maybe something can be mended. Anyways, that's all. Thank you to those who were civil and for your insightful comments. Update number 2. Ella's now out of the hospital and she's much better now. She's been having issues with my dad, so she's now staying with me and my wife till she finds a job. She is here bawling her eyes out because Ahmed has started the divorce proceedings. She's living in constant fear and anxiety, which has left her emotionally distressed, which is really taking a toll on her and our family as a whole. Today I met with Ahmed. He primarily was complaining that Ella was withholding something so important, and her attitude when confronted. She just wants him to come back so they can fix things and stay married, but he says no. All she's ever wanted was to be a wife and a mom, but now says that she can't even be either because her husband left her. I'm having such a hard time with this and my heart's hurting for her. Right now, the main focus is trying to help her heal, but she's really getting on my nerves. She's been doing digs at Mira, calling her a loser, a dork, because she builds technology environments for work and does coding. Calling her selfish and a fraud and says she's greedy and extravagant. However, Mira is not materialistic. She never cares about clothing, makeup, brands, cars, etc. Always spent money in thrift shops or during sales on whatever she liked. I remember trying to impress her with my 370Z, just for her to react, what is this, a Corolla? So yeah, I think you get the type I'm talking about. That's what I liked about her the most. Ella even said, I bet you guys are gonna get a divorce. I always stand up for my wife, but then she plays it off like she's joking, but I don't feel like she's joking and I just don't get it. For the life of me, why? I don't understand. She does these constant digs at her for no damn reason. I don't throw my relationship in her face. I actually barely talk about our marriage at all. I told my mom that Ella's behavior is unacceptable, but she excused her, saying she was devastated by the divorce, so I should give her a break. Update number 3. Thank you to everyone who responded to my last post. Even though I was seriously mad, I carefully read each comment and thought about it. Thank you for all your advice. I understand that Ella is severely depressed, to the point that she now flounces around in fewer clothing and regularly tries to engage with random men, whether I'm around or not. Though I do feel sad for her, it's extremely annoying and I'm sick of it. Out of the 3 main options, talk to my parents, confront her directly, or just have Ahmed shut her down, I decided to take the first option. I contacted my parents and told them about what's been going on and that I was going to kick Ella out. I said it in a no argument type way, just a statement of fact that her behavior was completely unacceptable. I said that I was telling them first so my kicking her out would not come out of the blue for them and they could help her find someplace else to live if they wanted to. To my surprise, my parents actually believed my side of the story, though not for the reason you would think. There had apparently been a incident at a recent annual family reunion that I didn't even know about because I've been unable to go. Apparently, Bea brought her boyfriend to the reunion to introduce him to everyone, and apparently Ella shamelessly and openly flirted with Bea's boyfriend in front of everybody, including Bea. Our parents, Bea's parents, and all of our aunts and uncles. I don't know exactly what Ella did, but according to Bea, whom I asked about it after, she was very obvious about it, sitting next to him whenever Bea got up to go anywhere really, and everyone witnessed it and it was the gossip of the family the entire day. My aunt and uncle, Bea's parents, were disgusted with her behavior and judged my parents for allowing her to behave this way. All of a sudden, my parents cared about what she was doing because now it was affecting their reputation in the family, which has always been the most important to them. So apparently they're mad at her for what's happened, and my parents said that they would talk to her and beat it into her head, that she can no longer act that way, and that she was close to messing up her living situation in our relationship. They begged me to give her a second chance and give her time to change once they talked to her. I told them I'd think about it, but once we hung up, I decided I didn't trust them to actually talk to her. I don't know, maybe it's from my 25 years of experience. Update number 4. Hey guys, it's me again. Well, whether my parents talked to her or didn't, today Ella posted something on her Facebook to the tune of, "Sometimes you can't let other people get in the way of love." I sat her down and decided to have a talk with her myself. I told her that if she did not cut out her behavior immediately, I was going to kick her out. I told her that I knew about everything and that it sickened me that she would disrespect our family by trying to seduce men. I told her that even if she did not have feelings she couldn't help, she needs to learn how to control them like an adult and respect her family, my relationship, and my home. She mouthed off and said that she didn't have to listen to me. Basically, she's saying, "Duck you. You're not older than me, you're not my mom," and she said word for word, and I quote, "I'm not a kid anymore. I can do whatever the duck I want." Surprisingly, I kept my cool and told her, okay, if that's true, there's going to be adult consequences to her actions. Consequences which could range from getting kicked out and having to move back home to getting her butt beat. And was in real world. Could not get away with her crap anymore. She said that she could do whatever she wanted, and doing whatever she wanted meant being herself. So I told her that she had 30 days to evict the apartment. I could not handle her attitude. She stormed off, and I told my parents that it was final. Ella had to be out of the apartment by the end of the month. They didn't say much and seemed stunned that she would suddenly act this way. I seriously have to wonder if Ella's just a huge, ducking witch as a result of being hopelessly spoiled, or if there might just be something going on with her. I don't know. I really don't know, but I'm fed up with her acting this way when I did her a favor by letting her absolutely live with me. So that's it. Hopefully I won't have to update again and she'll move out peacefully. Thank you for letting me rant. Edit. Quick edits added to my post. Thank you for the DMs and comments you've made addressing the situation. It truly makes me feel like I did the right thing. And a few of you pointed out that I would be the a-hole if I let Ella continue to live at my home after she disrespected Mira. Ella's divorce is now final, and my parents told me that Ella would be out of the apartment by the end of the week. I'd already served her eviction papers as of today, and thank you for that suggestion. By the way, her Facebook is whiny, crying crapstorm of, "Life is not fair, no one understands me. You can't ducking trust anyone, not family. My life is ruined." Yeah, I've hidden her from my feed and I'm going to watch anime with Mira. She's been fantastic through all this and she's the one keeping me going. Final update. Last week, I was at my parents' house and I decided to clean my old bookshelf and sell the books. I found a cute little folder full of my old drawings, and however, when I start to flick through it, I found Ella's old diary. The content of this diary is kind of rough. There's a lot of stuff written in it that started in 2017, and has written in it almost every day up until just a few years ago. It contained very private stuff about boys, her thoughts, how she was never feeling happy, and stuff like that, but towards the end, she wrote about how she used to be a drug addict. I didn't read the whole diary, honestly, but I read a few entries and most of it were very depressing. She had only written things like, "I want help, but I don't have the courage to ask. I need help, and I feel stuck. I'm depressed. Sometimes it's hard to breathe." I know what I did was wrong, okay? It's nasty, and I would never want anyone reading through my diary if I had one. I didn't want to make this into a big deal, which would probably happen if I told our parents because they're freaking drama queens. Over the weekend, one of my cousins had beers at his house. Me, being drunk AF, started crying about everything going on. He asked me, what was wrong, and I told him about the diary. OMG. It blew up. Nobody in the family knew about this. He texted his mom that night, and the next morning I woke up to everyone blowing up my phone, my parents even. Ella's saying that it's my fault now for not letting it go, and now it just seems like everything in her life truly is falling apart, including my parents because everyone's coming down on them too for not raising her right. I know none of that would have happened if it hadn't been for me running my mouth. My mom immediately asked her to come over. She asked her for all sorts of questions, and I mean it, and Ella looked bug-eyed and denied it like a liar that she was. As soon as my mom left after their conversation, I heard her run downstairs and go crying to our less conservative grandpa. She kept whining about hating herself, needing to find a new place to live if mom and dad kept this up, and that's not all that happened. The entire family, however, wants to basically disown her. They simply don't want to talk to her about anything. They hate her with a passion, and she's pretty much dead to them, and my dad doesn't even consider her his daughter anymore. She tried many times to talk to him, but he would always say the same thing, and I quote you that she is not his daughter, and he doesn't want to have anything to do with her. Today, she texted me, just to say that she admitted herself to a nearby psych ward hospital, which is a decision that I support wholeheartedly.
Anyways, that's all.
So, the comment section was saying it. Ella got everything she deserved. And well, she lost her significant other, and she was also going to get reported to HR. I couldn't find one comment that was basically sticking up for her or saying, you know what, she doesn't deserve all this. No, almost every comment on the post was basically saying she deserves every bit of this. I want to know your thoughts. Do you think these comments are being too harsh, or does she truly deserve everything that's happened? Drop your comments down below in the comment section. My name's Mr. Reddito, guys. I narrate these sort of stories every day, whether it be relationship dramas, inheritance dispute, mother-in-law, sister-in-law, brother-in-law, absolute debacles, wedding fiascos. I mean, the list goes on and on. So make sure you subscribe for these daily videos. I'll see you tomorrow. And remember, it's cool to be kind, baby.